You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
It's summertime, people. My favorite season out of all 4 seasons. Thank you for tuning in to the Nerds Pod. That's Pooba, that's Pete, and this is your boy Cole, and we're here to talk about my favorite horror movie of all time, the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Jaws came out on June 20th, 1975, and we are now celebrating 50 years of this blockbuster. Just to set it off real quick, to let you know, Jaws was the one that set off the summer blockbusters in the movie theaters, and also is one of my favorite horror movies. So I'm going to jump to Pete. Pete, did you get a chance to see Jaws?
Well, I didn't see it. I don't remember seeing it in the movies because I was one. I was one at the time, so no, I don't remember seeing it in the movies. But I did see it on Peacock. And if you have the chance to watch it on Peacock, you'll see there's a little bit of commentary at the beginning of the movie before the movie starts by Steven Spielberg. But I did see, of course, I knew about the movie. It's a classic, and of course, everybody knows the music, and it's up there with one of with the legendary. What I'm looking for is the I guess the tracks that are played in the movies. The score it's one of those legendary scores of movies of all times, and yeah, I was able to watch it and as an adult, and not see it as a kid and be scared to watch it, but to watch this whole movie beginning to end, no interruptions. It's timeless. It's a classic for a reason. They don't celebrate shitty movies when they have a 50th anniversary, and Jaws is a staple in movie history, and great movie. Great movie. I know we're gonna get into it, but was able to see a young Richard Dreyfuss in the movie, and yeah, it's just watching it was different because again, I'd never seen it in full because again, when it came out, we were babies,
We were
and
pups.
Cuba wasn't even here.
That's right.
So
I was swimming in my dad's sack. Yeah.
you were Jaws in your dad's sack. So
Well, at least you got to watch it, right? And
I got to feel it.
To watch it now and understand it was cool. It was a cool experience. Again, it's a classic, 50 years old, and we're talking about it now. So I'm fresh. I'm fresh.
That's awesome that you get the opportunity to actually see it a little bit later. For those that saw it a little younger, I got to watch it at a very, very young age. I didn't go to the movies. Like Pete was saying that we were too young for the movies. I wouldn't even understand it anyway. But I did get an opportunity to see it on VHS. And the first time I saw it, I fell in love. Pete was talking about the score. The score is so great because it was only 2 notes. It's a D flat and then a D. And that's all you really needed to give it just that chilling experience when it comes to this horror movie. And mind you guys, I'm going to keep stressing that this is a horror movie. I'm going to pass it on to my horror expert, my man, Pooba. Pooba, 2 questions for you, my brother. 1, did you get to see Jaws and what you thought about it? And secondly, do you believe this is a horror movie?
So I've seen Jaws as a child. Of course, never got to see it in the theater. If anything, I might have seen like Jaws 3 in the theater and walked out like half in the middle of the movie. But I've saw this movie like P on Peacock to rewatch it to kind of refresh myself on this particular movie because again, it's my genre for the most part. I loved every minute of it. Rewatching it again, I love Spielberg's take and I actually read some stuff on on how many times that shark Jaws himself went down.
Yep.
Yeah, failed miserably. But you never see that in the film. Like you never notice that in the film. The fact that they went over budget to nail it down. It was great to see. It's nostalgic. It set the tone for so many like Megalodon, Lake Placid, all those other movies that kind of came afterwards. So absolutely, it is a horror movie because it falls within that genre.
Deep
it is
Blue
a
Sea.
tone setter.
Oh,
Deep
one
Blue
of my
Sea.
favorites.
Yeah, so it set the tone for all these movies that are horror, considered horror in the water at this point in time. So absolutely, it's a horror film. It's a classic horror film. I'm a little sad that Universal Studios took it out of the park and replaced it because I used to love getting on that ride. The jump scares are still there for you to come, like when he's throwing out the chum into the water and the blood, and then it comes out. The comedic relief in it. He was like, "We're gonna need a bigger boat." Like he knew that this wasn't set up. This was set up for complete failure. You know, the one thing I didn't notice in watching it the second time. The captain never touches the water until that point where the boat is sinking.
That
he
is correct.
a land lover for the most part, and I love when he was saying it's not an island if you're looking into the water.
Mm-hmm.
I love that
water.
part.
Yeah,
Correct. Because again, he's just he's a more of a city guy than he is a water guy. But man, everything was there. Everything that you've ever wanted in a horror film, it was set up perfectly. There were little things like he never had to say that he's new to the town. The way he's picking up the phone, and he picked up one phone, then he hung up and picked up the emergency phone at the house, like that type of stuff. You kind of knew he's kind of getting used to his own environment. The storytelling is fantastic. The arc of everyone. So yeah, man, absolutely, hands down, one of the best horror films to ever get on the silver screen. Absolutely loved it, and one of my favorite horror movies, just as well as you are, because it is The Matrix. It is Spider-Verse. It is something that you never saw before, and they came out with it first. That's my take on that.
Yo, props to Steven Spielberg for just keep going and not even stopping to do this. Like you mentioned earlier, how difficult it was at that time for them to have a mechanical shark and try to make it work. And then his brilliance of just let's not show the shark. Let the people have their own imagination of this shark. And you were seeing the terror within the waters, but yet never able to see the shark until you see that scene when he's chomping on the captain, which was a horror
Quint.
for me. That's correct. With that,
Yeah,
yo, Pooba brought up the ride. Fun fact here: me, Pooba, and Pete, we were out in Universal Studios and we were hanging out. It was my first time in Universal with my brothers, and we passed by the Jaws ride, and I was like, I gotta get on this. But we had tickets for something else. I told them, please, I need to get on this. But if anything, you guys can go and I'll get on it myself, but I have to get on this ride. And these guys came back and jumped on the line with me, and we jumped in the boat and got on the ride. Another fun fact, which I thought was dope, since them two got on this ride prior, and this is my first time, and they know I'm a fanatic, they put me in the right position so that way Jaws could come after me. And that was so much fun. When it comes to Jaws, in previous episodes, Pete, remember we were talking about how Jaws had a video game. Did you ever get to play the video game of Jaws and what you thought about it?
I did get it, and it was one of those games that for some reason it was tricky to master and get what you had to do. I think we finally found somebody who was able to beat it, and that's how I ended up learning, because I couldn't figure it out for anything.
That was
I
me.
saw somebody else do it.
I beat it.
But I did have it. I did have it back then.
It was so easy to beat the game. The thing was you had to build up. What was cool about the game was that you're in your boat, so you are just diving and getting seashells and collecting some money. And there's a small map, and then the boat will go around. But then you see Jaws here and there, and sometimes Jaws will come and attack you. And when he does, eventually, when you hit him and his energy goes down low enough, then you get to that final stage where you had to jump the boat in order to stab Jaws and kill him, which was part 4. So, but I'm glad you got to play it, and shoot, I will always play that game for sure. Pooba, when it comes to the movie, right? It took so long to actually see the shark come out, and you were saying how difficult it was with the mechanical problems and stuff like that. But when you did get to see the 3 out there hunting this shark, did you enjoy it? And do you feel that the way they defeated Jaws in the first movie was legit?
Yeah, I mean, most horror films give you a POV, a point of view version of what they're looking at and what they're seeing. And because horror has a good history of that, we didn't need to see Jaws all the time. All we needed was the blood in the water when he brought someone down, when they showed the limb, when they showed the dead bodies. So the way they filmed Jaws, in the sense that nature, to film it in the water, looking at people or looking up, I mean, again, I have to say it. Have you seen that before? And I've seen it multiple times afterwards, but before that movie, I can't really remember seeing that before, right? And right. I tell you, man, that the way they filmed it, in the sense of Jaws, to see Jaws, like, again, the pop-up scare with Rob Schneider and the chum, when he's taking the yellow containers down, you see how powerful he is without even seeing Jaws. I think that's just a smart way to do things. Like, give me the shock value of when this villain comes out, of when these things come out. Again, very similar to the way Marvel did their stuff. All these things, the Chitauri, Loki, the aliens fighting. We didn't have to see Thanos. We knew he was behind it all, and what a great delivery at the end of that movie. But for this particular film, I think they did a really good job. He looked real. The black in his eyes, the teeth, the blood. They did a really good job of it. The way he died, I mean, come on. They led up to it every single time. I think a few times, or at least twice, Roy Schneider messed up on the tank, and then I think his name was,
threw it in his mouth and said, "Please get away from me." I thought he was gonna die there.
Yeah, but remember, Hooper was getting on him about the tanks. Like, be careful with these tanks. Be careful with these tanks. He kept on pushing that before that happened. So for the villain in this, Jaws, to die with something that they were talking about ahead of time, man, what a great job. Yes, I absolutely think that Jaws should have died correctly.
Question.
Throw it out there.
What were the yellow canisters for?
So the yellow canisters was actually, since we can't see underwater, and this is just me coming up with this. This is not solid. This is not from Steven Spielberg himself. But me watching the movie and being in that movie, I feel like since at that time there was no technology that I can actually look underwater and watch for the shark, the yellow tanks was to show when the shark was around. Those tanks. And then it showed the power of the shark when he brought those heavy things down.
Okay.
And even that time when he turned the boat around, and then they were like, let go of the boat because now the engine is running, and they're trying to like go against the shark, but the shark was so big and powerful, it was able to like move away. So that was really like the point of those yellow tanks, was to identify when the shark was around.
Okay, it threw me off because they said, "Look, he's pulling them down." But I that's when it kind of lost me, because it's easy to say, "Oh, it's easy to figure out." Yeah, okay, that's where he's at. But when they brought that up, I was like, "Okay, I don't know if that's to kind of slow him down or whatever, but it's more of a marker to see where he's at."
That is correct. And then they were shocked. They realized, wow, this is a beast because he was able to take down those tanks, those air tanks down. So that really made him more of a monster.
Yeah, part of the yellow tanks as well was to tire the shark out. You have to think that he's gonna get tired from having to pull that in the water and then also try to pull it down to get away from it. It's gonna tire out the shark, where they thought there was gonna be an easy kill. Hell no.
Not even close. It's Jaws, baby. He ain't going nowhere. So prior to that, right? I know we're going all around, but we're just talking about the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Mind you guys, this is 5 decades of a horror movie that came out, and it's still, like Pete said, it's still being recognized and still being loved. Puba, let me ask you what you think about the sheriff and his storyline as far as like the responsibility he had to open up the beaches on the 4th of July, going against the mayor, telling the mayor that we shouldn't do this. There is a shark out there, and his paranoia. And tell me more about the sheriff's character and what you thought about him.
Yeah, no, Chief Brody, Roy Schneider in the movie nailed it. Like he nailed this role completely, sold completely of how much control he has and things of that nature. How quickly he was thinking on his feet. He goes, "Where are the signs? We're gonna close the beach." Like right off the top, we're gonna close the beach off and go. And when he can't find signs, go straight, walks directly to the I think the hardware store, and he started picking up wood and paint and all this stuff to make sure he knocked it out the park. So I absolutely love Chief Brody in this movie, and to know that he was a landlubber, to know the fact that he did not touch the water until Jaws broke the boat. That is the first time, and if you don't watch the movie again, Chief Brody does not touch the water until Jaws breaks the boat. He wants nothing to do with the water, which I love because you have this beast of an animal, the antagonist of the movie, and he's in water. The protagonist doesn't touch water. How is this even going to make sense now? So the fact that you have that, and it comes into conclusion, and yes, you know, they say that money is the root to all evil, and the mayor of the town did not want to close the beaches. It was, I believe, it was filmed in Martha's Vineyard. And then Amity, where they at, is all fictional. That's not a real place. So the fact that they made a West Coast look like an East Coast for this film, again, phenomenal job. But Spielberg is classic. Spielberg is one of those few people that on the Mount Rushmore of directors. So for the most part, I love the way he filmed Captain Brody. I love the fact that we're yelling at the mayor, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you opening these beaches? What the hell is wrong with you? Again, great part of the story. If you're talking to the TV, the director and the actors have done their job. So even when the mayor comes up to I think it was an older couple, I don't know who they were, but they were the first ones to go in the water with their kid. And then they kind of set it off for everyone else to get in the water. Right there, I'm yelling. Like, I'm F-bombing it like crazy. What is wrong with you people? 2 people are dead in the water, like chomped up into pieces.
Don't get in the water.
Yeah, listen, because of the direction and because of the way they did the island, the captain, everything else, I look at a pool differently. Like, I go in the pool and I'm looking inside the water, just in my headspace because of this movie. Forget the beach. Like, I'm like, okay, I will never go as far in the water into the beach as some people will do. I'm a good swimmer. I'm a panicky swimmer. If I ever saw a shark, like I would be leaving poop stains on the way back to shore, because I'm crapping myself from the scare of having a shark on my tail, knowing that I will never be as fast as this guy coming after me. But you know, between the direction, between Captain Brody, the delivery of Captain Brody's face. Again, like that moment when we see Jaws jump out the water, like I knew it was coming and I still jumped back. That's when you know that this movie is classic. It's fantastic. It's rewatchable, even 50 years later. I can't speak enough on the direction that they took because everything mattered. Every time they spoke in this movie, every time that Captain Brody was speaking, I want to say was Hooper was the scientist guy.
Yeah.
And every time they were speaking, even when they were gutting the tiger shark, and he was throwing things out of the tiger shark, and man, I can't say enough of that whole situation. The way they did it, the way it's filmed, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful.
So what's great is you was talking about Spielberg. Spielberg did this thing where the camera kind of pans into the sheriff because the sheriff has like this anxiety that something's going on in the beach. And that pan was the first time that they ever used that. And now in movies, they'll use that more.
Yeah.
Yes, that is one of the brilliance of Spielberg when he ended up doing that. Look, I say this is a horror movie because if you take Child's Play, Chucky a doll, you take Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, these are fictional characters. What makes this a scary movie and one of my favorite horror movies is that this is real. You, like Puba was saying, you go into the water, you're watching your back. You're actually, a little afraid of being attacked by a shark. Statistics show that you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than getting attacked by a shark. And because of this movie, we ended up doing more and more research and understanding how important these sharks are. I ended up becoming a lover of sharks because of this movie, and studying them more and more has been just phenomenal for me. One of my wish lists is to go into the cage and actually swim with sharks if I can. Hopefully, if I do and I survive, I'll come back on this show and let you guys know. Pete, what you thought about Hooper's character? He's a great actor, by the way. Can you give me some tea on this guy?
Just Richard Dreyfuss. He's been around forever. I didn't know he was in this movie. The guy. Of course, we know about the star. To me, the star is Jaws. Is the shark, but the headliner is Roy Schneider, and I always associated him with this movie. I didn't know Richard Dreyfuss was in it, and I said, "Wow, look how young he is, man!" And, again, this is 50 years ago, so don't know his actual age, but that was cool to see him as the kind of the expert in the field as far as helping them out as far as trying to catch him. I love the fact that he was like, yo, that's not the shark. That's not it. The bite radius is not it. And of course, they wanted to be done with this whole situation. So they were like, yeah, all right. That's the shark, man. We're moving on. We're opening up the beaches. And it's like Puba said, when you're talking to the movie, you know they did a good job. Because when they put him in the cage and he dropped that spear he had, I said, oh, fucking dropped it, man. Like,
he's in trouble.
And then I was like, yo, he's done. And then when Schneider is hanging off of the freaking the mast and he's aiming at Jaws, I'm like, yo, I can't believe he's like this far away from the water, but he's still got to make sure that he shoots him right in his mouth. Pause, because
gotta get that tank. That's right.
Gotta get the tank, man. But it was listen, man. And again, I spoke about the score at the beginning when they're showing the credits. They're underwater and you don't see anything. But of course, the music is amping you up, and you're thinking something's gonna pop out. Nothing does. I did jump back when they found that boat out at sea, and he
and
went
the dead
in.
Body.
Yep, he popped out, no eye. I was like, oh.
Yep.
Did jump back on that, but I knew, and like Puba said, I knew the shark when he was throwing the chum in the water. I knew he was coming, but pause. But then when he jumped back, he sold that. He sold like I saw it. I was like, he's scared. He like the shark scared the shit out of him. I thought it was funny, but he was so good at selling that scene right there. Perfect, man. I enjoyed the movie, man. I don't find it to be a hard watch. Because
that's awesome.
At one point, at no point did I say, "Oh man, I can't wait for this to be over." But that was it was a good movie, man. Some good scares. Again, all these years, of course, I knew about the music. I knew about the effect it had on people at that time because, like you guys spoke about before, people were afraid to get into the water after seeing this. You know, you see like blood just all over the place. It's like a fountain of blood inside the water, a geyser of blood after he's, you know, the kid on the raft, dragging the girl around at the beginning, which I didn't understand. Yo, it's dark. Let's go for a swim in the beach. And I was just like, this is just gonna end bad. And of course it did, but everything was perfect. And then you could see how at the time the way the movie was shot, it affected people. So 2 thumbs up, man.
Oh, that's awesome. Listen, we're gonna need a bigger boat is possibly one of the biggest lines on there. But when you was talking, Pete, remember, smile, you son of a bitch.
Yes.
I love that line. That's one of my favorite lines right there while he's looking at it. I have to ask you guys, have you, because Jaws was successful, and of course they're gonna want to continue making more and stuff like that. Pooba, you mentioned earlier that you walked out on Jaws 3. Did you get to an opportunity to see Jaws 2, 3, and 4?
I was okay with Jaws 2. Jaws 2 didn't disappoint me at all. I would like to see this story remade with newer technology. I would like to see this story remade, but again, very similar to what we saw in How to Train Your Dragon. Do it scene for scene. Don't overthink it. The story is great. The monster is a monster of what you need. Don't overthink it. I would like to see a remake of Jaws with the newer technology. I think it would look crazy.
Interesting. Yo, Pete, I'll run off of that. Would you like to see a remake of Jaws?
No. And they did this with Psycho. The movie Psycho, they remade it shot for shot. I don't think it really made an impact like that. This is a classic. Leave it alone. And just to give like another example of this is a lot of people always, Back to the Future. Are they going to do part 4? They're going to remake it. Now, I remember I read that they asked Michael J. Fox, and he was like, I don't care. I already got paid. You know what I mean? The stars of that trilogy don't want nothing to do with it. And the producers have said, we're not touching this. I think you should leave classics alone. And I think that's what makes them classics. They're like antiques. You kind of don't want to, mess with an antique. You're not going to throw a sound system in a 57 Chevy. You're not going to throw some spinners on a 57 Chevy. You want it to be a classic. I think Jaws is a classic. Leave it alone. And I'll tell you this too as well. As far as Jaws is concerned, only Jaws I've seen. I'm not interested in seeing Jaws 2, 3, and 4. I remember Jaws, the third one was 3D, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
I have a story about that.
I think we tried to watch it when I was younger, I think on VHS. It didn't keep me in my seat. I got up and left.
Just like my brothers right here, they got up and left on Jaws 3. If you guys get to see it, give us a comment. Let us know what you thought. If you saw Jaws 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 is called Jaws: The Revenge. Jaws 3 was the first Jaws movie I got to see in the movie theater. I was very excited. I was old enough to actually go into the movie theater. Pooba, I went to the Borinquen movie theater to watch Jaws 3. Good looking. And I saw it in 3D. And yes, it was corny as hell. But since I'm a fan, I stood for the whole thing. Would I rewatch it? Probably not. But if it's on UPN, why not? Right?
But can I ask you guys both a question? Would you want to see Jaws animated done?
That's very interesting. I'll jump on that. I wouldn't mind it. I think actually do it Japanese style, and I'm all in, because I think the Japanese horror animes are by far like they're very brutal. And again, I keep stressing that this is a horror movie, so I think if the Japanese was to do a Jaws
like
animated
anime version,
I would so be down for that for sure. Pete?
Yeah, I prefer that than remaking it. Like again, another the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze. There's a rumor that Channing Tatum wants to remake that, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Leave that movie
that
alone.
is a classic movie. Why mess with it? Look what happened recently with The Crow.
I'll give you another one, Pete. Roadhouse. Roadhouse was another one. They remade it. Patrick Swayze was in that, and it was a good movie. I mean,
I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up because it's one of those guilty pleasures. It's not really reviewed as. I like the movie. I'll watch it, but it's not a classic movie like Ghost or Jaws or whatever. I'm not saying I do like the movie, but I don't put it in the same category as those other movies. But Roadhouse, definitely, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's so bad, it's good.
Pooba, what you think? Would you like to see Jaws animated?
No, yeah, I would absolutely.
No,
I think that.
So me, yes, I didn't.
Yeah. You told me, Pete. Yeah, you said you wouldn't mind that. You'd rather have that than
remake,
them remaking it. But Pooba, what do you think? Would you like to see it animated?
Yeah, well, why not? Why not? Again, you can't. Animation allows to do so much more. If the visuals on this 1975 movie are good, yeah, animated, yeah, sold. Take my money. I'm in the movie theater to see that.
Awesome, man. Listen, guys, I hope we get an opportunity to maybe review a couple of more horror movies. It is part of our genre. We can't front. We have watched a few of them. I'm so happy to celebrate the 50th anniversary of my favorite horror movie of all time, Jaws, which started off the summer blockbuster. Happy summer, everybody. I hope everyone is safe. Have fun. If you could do me a favor, subscribe, like, and give us a comment. Let us know if you got to see Jaws. Where do you rank it as far as horror? Is it a horror movie for you guys? So, guys, stay safe in the water. That's Pooba. That's Pete. It's Ko. And dun 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 dun.
We will return.
The worst episode ever.